2023. Wow, what a year. I feel so fortunate to be able to look back on memorable moments throughout my year in this digital diary that I've created for myself. It helps me gain perspective and encourages me to think of the glass half full rather than half empty. While I would love to live in this never-ending highlight reel that is social media, I want to take a moment to reflect on not only the good, but also the things I'd like to leave in 2023. So with all that said, let's reflect on the most unforgettable year of my life to date. Here are my 2023 reflections. There were plenty of themes that I could use to describe my interests this year. I did a ton of traveling, some for work, most for pleasure, but let's be real, if I'm getting on a flight and visiting a new destination, I'm gonna have a good time. Another theme for this year is live music. Something about music festivals over the summertime just makes you feel so young. I saw some of my favorites like Remy Wolf, Leon Bridges, Lizzie McAlpine, and so many other talented artists this year. It's crazy how much music affects my mood, and I love looking back to see what artist I was listening to in specific times of my year. One of my main goals of 2023 was to invest in more hobbies, and unfortunately, all of these hobbies that I'm interested in are pretty pricey, but I did end up taking a lot of film photos. I started to learn how to use and operate my brand new film camera. I'd love to use this one more for travel, but for now, I am happy to use it around San Diego until I know it a little bit better. I also dove headfirst into learning how to throw a piece of clay on a spinning wheel. I haven't quite mastered this one yet, but I have such a fun time getting off my phone and creating something with my hands. It's really hard for me to not be good at something when I immediately start, so I'm very proud of myself for sticking to this budding hobby, even though I do kind of suck at pottery. The last theme is time alone. I've always loved my own company, but over the last few years, I've grown increasingly more uncomfortable with spending time alone in public specifically. So I treated myself to solo beach days, solo shopping trips, and maybe next year I'll dip my toe into some solo travel. There were so many great moments in this past year, but some of my favorites, of course, were all while traveling. I went on a media trip to Riviera Nayarit in Mexico. We stopped in this small town called Hala and did this waterfall hike. After being on the trail for a little bit, we see these 3 beautiful horses sitting on the trail ahead of us. It looked like it was out of a movie, and I will never forget this moment. I also love Milos and Greece in general. It was the first time we took a trip, all 3 of us together, and thankfully we are already in the talks for our next sister trip of 2024. Joshua Tree was a trip that I took all the way at the start of 2023. It's funny to look at this one because at this time, these people were complete strangers to me. I took a chance, went on a creator trip, and I came out with friends who I could not imagine my life without. And of course, there's bound to be trips that I'm not in the best headspace, and unfortunately, that's what my cruise was to the Bahamas. It's crazy how things work out, because as soon as we docked in the Bahamas, I realized that my best friend from 4th grade, who was also on a cruise at the same time as me, was docked in the Bahamas just across the way from my ship. We didn't think we were gonna have any overlapping on our 2 separate cruises, but this was just the pick-me-up that I needed after a very mentally challenging few days. This year, I did a lot of things that took me out of my comfort zone, and I definitely want to continue that into 2024. Some of the specific things that I want more of in this coming year is spontaneity, travel, friendship, and exploring San Diego and California. As we get older, I think it's widely known that your circles become smaller and smaller, but I feel like that doesn't give much opportunity to making new friends and new people who might come in your life. I want to continue to be open to meeting people and developing deep friendships with people that I've only known for a short amount of time. I also really want to continue exploring San Diego and California, just as I did when I just moved here. I have a feeling that my days as a Southern California resident are coming to an end, so I really want to make the most of my time here while I can. Taking into account all the positives and negatives of 2023, there are definitely some things and habits that I'd like to leave behind. I tend to ruminate and obsess over little things that happen in life, making a problem that is the size of a molehill out to be the size of a mountain. These next two go hand in hand because I feel like when I'm scrolling constantly, I'm comparing constantly. I'd like to do less of both of those in 2024. Oftentimes when I'm comparing, it's not even comparing myself to other people, but to myself in previous stages of my life where I felt prettier, funnier, more interesting, and all around better than I am today in my current state. I know that one day I will look back on me now and wish I had these years back, but it is a difficult struggle that I am working through every day. There's plenty of lessons that can be learned from this past year for me, but the main one is that not even I can get in the way of the blessings that are for me. It's crazy to think how much self-sabotage comes when you're suffering with imposter syndrome, but when I take a step back and think about how hard I've worked to be where I am today, it does put it all in perspective for me. This year I learned that my wildest dreams are chasing me right back, and a seed of an idea would not be planted in my brain unless it intended to grow roots and sprout. My hope for this coming year is that I take a moment to be present in every new stage of life that comes my way, and that I start believing that good things are meant to happen to me and I am deserving of all the good things in this world. Life is beautiful, and I cannot wait to see what 2024 has in store. Happy New Year!